In this video, we're gonna go over the patch notes. So I haven't reviewed them, so this will be a raw reaction for you. So let's get to it.
Tux makes it exciting!
So let's go over this in detail. Ultimate Valby modification modules. So the mods: Spiral Tidal Wave. The bouncy bubble bullet has been replaced by a projectile that flies in a straight line. Spiral Tidal Wave is stackable and can be fired 3 times in a row and attracts impurities during the Gluttony intercept battle. So the Gluttony is the new boss, the new Colossi. All right. Hydro Pressure Bomb. Instead of plop plop, she leaps forward and deals damage to enemies around the landing area. The more enemies in the laundry state, the more powerful the damage. So that'll be fun to play with. Added Ultimate Valby and Morpheus materials. So the patterns are 11, 44, 115, 30, 55, 113, 23, 52, 73, 87, 110, and 125. Can no longer be acquired. You can continue to use the Morpheus materials you already have as before. So they phased them out, but you can still spend them. Okay. But added the AA variants of a Morpheus materials. So I guess they just updated them. Access info, and then you look up at Descendants, and then you scroll down here to Ultimate Valby, and then look at how to get some of this stuff. You'll see the new wording there. So at the top, see it says 11. So that's what they're talking about. So it's an updated pattern. Added the AA variants of Morpheus materials, and it's basically a repeat of those same numbers listed. You can acquire the enhanced cell blueprint, stabilizer blueprint, the catalyst, code of Ultimate Valby from them. Her blueprint and code materials will replace one of the items available from the original. So the Morpheus materials of the variant can be acquired and used in the same place as the original. All right, so here's Luna, the new descendant they added. She looks pretty fun. So Luna, passive skill is improvisation. Using any skill increases inspiration gauge, which allows Luna to use enhanced skills. Her active skill 1 is stage presence. Using the skill changes Luna's weapon to her unique weapon. Wow, the first one does that, huh? Performing the notes in time to the music by using skills or hitting monster stacks and increases her skill power modifier. Active skill 2, passionate stage. Using the skill makes Luna play upbeat music, increasing the skill power modifier of Luna and her allies. Gaining the enhanced effect increases the skill power modifier even more and also increases the skill crit rate and damage of allies. So she's definitely a buffer for the team. So relaxing act uses the skill, makes Luna play relaxing music. Hitting the enemy with a note grants an effect that instantly recovers the MP of Luna. Nice. Instantly recovers. Wow. Gaining the enhanced effect increases MP recovery and reduces skill cost. Active 4, which is usually the ult. Delightful stage, using the skill makes Luna play delightful music. Hitting the enemy with a note increases inspiration gauge and decreases the skill cooldown of allies. Very nice. Gaining the enhanced effect increases the inspiration gauge even more and immediately resets the cooldown of allies even better. Very fun. Immediate cooldowns, yeah, I like that. So the mod, she's got nimble footsteps. This mod enhances her movement speed and amplifies the effect range. Okay. Noise surge transforms all of Luna's skills to combat skills. That's fun, especially if you're running solo. This makes her usable. So performing the notes and rhythm unleashes a powerful AoE attack. When the inspiration gauge is full, summons a moving stage where she dances to recover MP and shield. That's gotta look weird. Her dancing in the middle of a fight. We'll see how that pans out. So added Luna Morpheus materials. There's a bunch of numbers listed that can no longer be acquired. You can continue to use those materials if you already had them. And then they added the day variants for those same numbers. So they're basically replacing them. You can acquire these blueprints and all of that other stuff. So this isn't a complete farming guide, but we will be farming her and I'll run down the best for that. You can get it from the Executioner and a Pyromaniac and Echo Swamp, the first piece. And then the second one is Dead Bride on hard, so not too bad at all. And then Void Fusion Reactor on normal if you want to avoid the end fights. And then you got the White Knight Gulch Abyssal Void Reactor. Finally, we got Vespers on the third one, or the Fortress. So these are good. And then the last but not least, looks like you got the Swamp Walker, very good. And then the Reactors. So she seems relatively easy to get, I gotta say. I mean, obviously the fights are tough as they are, but they didn't hide her behind the new Gluttony guy, and they didn't hide her behind the Molten Fortress, and Frostwalker is a pain in the butt, so that's good news. So added the new Void Intercept Battle Gluttony. Intercept Gluttony to collect the Hungry Sonic external component set. Nice. and the blueprint of the ultimate weapon, Peacemaker. External component set. So the Hungry Sonic set, 2-piece set, effect grants toxin resistance. 4-piece set grants an effect that recovers MP on hitting the target with a skill's unique weapon. Think of Freya's gun. As well as an effect that increases skill duration and MP heal modifier proportionally to max MP. Wow, that's really interesting. Too bad the 2-piece is toxin resistance. I mean, that'll make you definitely tankier against some of those guys. Details on the new ult, the Peacemaker. Look at that little stub nose. Okay, add a new ultimate weapon using a dimension skill grants the single reload for peace effect. At maximum stacks, the single reload or peace effect enables you to fire the loaded ammo in a single quick burst when taking an aimed shot. It's cool that it synergizes with the skill. So yeah, you use dimension a bunch of times, you gain those stacks, and then when you whip out the pistol to use it, whatever that burst shot is gonna dispense all of those stacks at the same time. So sort of like a shotgun. Wow, pretty interesting. So new module, so decrease movement speed, firearm attack, and all attribute attack except non-attribute attack every time a skill is used. For each stack of RK concretion increases defense and MP. So it's a debuff of the enemy. Okay, this next part is exciting for me. Content improvements. I always look forward to these changes that the devs make because they've been doing pretty darn cool stuff. But maybe some of it will be nerfs, so let's look closely. To prevent module swapping from becoming a strategy in battles and infiltration ops, equipping and removing modules, changing presets, and changing loadouts are now prohibited. That sucks. Especially it's because this is PvE, you know? It's not like we're having unfair advantages over allies. Added a feature to collect all lost and found items at once in a mailbox. Oh, thanks. That's awesome. One at a time has been so annoying. Added camera shake on off feature and options. Added the ability to select preset search keywords to make it easier to search modules and research. Oh, that's awesome. Really cool. I hate typing. Okay, quick update on this. I mean, look at this Descendant. That's crazy. Just straight up bikini, right? Now, okay, fine. You know, woman in a bikini. Nothing we haven't seen before. But this is a looter shooter. She is fighting in that bikini, all right? She's out there fighting in it. What? All right. We have seen it all. More eye candy for you. Okay, back to the patch notes. So let's see here. You can now register equipped items as attached items. Oh, cool. If you go in here, you can now heart these while they're equipped. Unregister, register. So before you had to unequip it and then register it and then re-equip it, which was annoying. So now you can do it right here. Small, but powerful. The modification modules for the same Descendant are now displayed together. That's nice. When selecting all duplicate modules in dismantle modules, you can now use a filter to register only the selected modules for dismantling. They use the word register a lot. I don't like that. A game changer. Okay, so before, what would happen is you would go in here to dismantle your modules, and you'd probably want to dismantle your blue ones at least, but the others are great for combining. So you wouldn't want to delete the purples and higher, but you would want to delete the normals for Kuiper. Now the problem was that you would select all, it would select not just the ones applied by the filter, but it would select all the ones behind it too. So the rare, the ultimates, and transcendents. That's not intuitive, right? So early on in the game, I would go in here. So I would go in here to delete my mods, not knowing that I was deleting the other ones. I had to manually do it, or else I'd risk losing all of my important mods that were combining to get hopefully something better. You can now delete just normal, and you can now delete just rare and just ultimate separately. But just to show you, if I go to my ultimates, none of them are selected, and I definitely have duplicates. So I can dismantle just the ones that I have selected. So you have to now do each rarity separately, but that's really cool. That's how we want it. So great news. Mods were always full in the inventory. It was becoming a pain. They added a search function to the consumables menu. Oh, that's nice. I was surprised it wasn't there before. Oh, Descendants. So here comes the buff. So remember they were saying they were gonna buff some of the Descendants, and they didn't say why, but that was in response to people saying that Bunny was too powerful. So instead of nerfing Bunny, I believe this is a route to that. So they basically increased the range for Freyna, her room 0 trauma, from 4 meters to 7 meters. That's huge. And I'm excited about that. Valby skills, they push those from 200 to 250 for range scaling, and same with Blair, it's got the same buff. And then change the blizzard generated by VS's glacial cloud module to be triggered instantly without delay. That's nice. So it'll be fast, which is cool because she's really, you know, a lot of bursts comes out of her skills. Equipment. So for the most part, they've just increased the crits on a lot of this stuff. And they also added the option to go from single shot to burst shot to fire automatically when the fire button is pressed. Otherwise, the director puts out a really nice comment here about void shards. So he talks about special ops, and I covered this in another video, so I'm just going to recap here. But special ops are amazing, right? It's like where they want the end game to be. The void shards they had added in the previous patch hotfix were, you know, just not really impactful. So then you had to go to the void shard farms and spend a lot of time running in circles, usually with a bunny or something like that, to get those. And it was just a monotonous task. It's not where we want to be spending our time. So they buffed it. So you're now getting 7 times more shards from special operations. And I've been using those to level up my characters, the special ops. I actually prefer to do that rather than going to, you know, like the bunny cave or something like that. And I've been leveling up quickly there, but now I'm going to be getting shards at the same time too, as well as gold, because you get some decent gold drops out of that. So really happy about that, as well as you get amorphous patterns. Remember, they're giving you the patterns that you can go and use to get those catalysts, or, you know, roll the dice to get them. So he basically describes that, you know, they're listening to our feedback and they are responding. They also made it so that the encrypted vaults will spawn at 100% chance. So sometimes you would go to the map and they wouldn't be there, and you'd have to fast travel out and back in, and then it would be there. So a little quality of life improvement there. They made some optimization improvements to all the platforms, and then a bunch of bug fixes here and there. And they fixed the issue where Enzo's shoot support was not applied to allies. I didn't know that was happening. Oh my gosh. So we could have been stronger than we were. So there's that. Glaze life siphon is being fixed, was fixed. Kyle had some issues, and they also made sure that you can't bounce against the wall to get his repulsion dash buff. So I think Marky Mark, that's for you out there. He's one of our friends that's been using Kyle a lot lately. Bunny had some bugs going on with her stuff, so they fixed those. The Thunder Cage, here's a big one. So fix an issue where the ultimate weapon Thunder Cage's unique effect would deal more than 1.3x damage when monsters were clustered. Instead, Electric Shockwave now deals 2x damage regardless of the number of enemies. So that's why you would sometimes see a group of enemies be just ultimately deleted by just one of them getting shocked. So this is the director's comment around this. This is interesting. Let's read this closely. So during internal testing, we discovered a bug with Thunder Cage. Thunder Cage should always deal 1.3x damage according to its description, but it was dealing more when there were a lot of monsters. We fixed this bug, but we also boosted the damage to 2x so that it doesn't become less effective when hunting. We are well aware of the value of items you own. So to ensure that fixing the bug doesn't devalue your items, we've given it more power than originally intended. If something like this happens in the future, we won't stop at simply fixing the bug, but consider how to preserve the value. So really important. So they don't nerf things. We see this a lot in games, and I like their approach here. So in other games, we'll see them, you know, fix a change, but we've already invested mentally in the weapon. And so they end up over patching it, and then it becomes basically useless and gets dusty. So this is great, and a great attitude from the devs. As far as the field, it looks like for the amorphous patterns and shape stabilizers, they remixed some of the locations so that you have to go, like, for example, instead of going to Hagios for 104, you now have to go to the Wet Night Gulch. So that's cool. So if you're farming a particular pattern, you're now getting a diversified experience. So as far as the director's additional comments, so he goes in here to say that they're working on future changes. I did cover this on another video I just put out, but they're improving the drop rates of things. Basically, they're acknowledging that it's a frustrating experience when you're trying to get something and you run that mission over and over and it's just not dropping. You're getting everything but that. So they're introducing, or will be introducing, a new pity system. So this will allow you to easily get the item you want after repeating the activity a certain number of times. They say, we feel for you. We recognize that you're working hard and we want this game to feel rewarding. Disposing of leftover items. You're out there farming for ultimate Lepic, and instead you're getting ultimate, you know, Glay things, and you already have ultimate Glay, so it's junk. What are you going to do with that? Well, right now, nothing. But in the future, you're going to be able to dismantle it for byproducts or some sort of resource. First, they were considering gold and Kuiper. but I think that it's a good idea that they don't, because at some point we might have just way too much of that. So adding to that could just end up being junk. Instead, we're gonna get these byproducts that you can use to craft things, but if you have a surplus in a particular one, you can use it as a form of currency at a vendor. So I think that's much more useful and less wasteful potentially, but we'll see. And then to talk about build diversity, this is a big deal. So right now, basically as the game works is the more you progress your character, then the less build opportunities you have. And that's because basically of how the catalyst system works across these settings. For example, in setting 2, you will see, I don't have any mods, but I've invested in her some. And so the more I invest in my character, the less build diversity I have, because these are locked in all my settings. And so here's setting 3. And if I buy more settings, all these catalysts are there. And so at some point they're going to be full when I have her fully scaled up. Now, if I want to make a different build, that build is going to be dramatically weaker because potentially the sockets might not match. So it won't be fully optimized. And if you want to make it optimized, then you can re-roll these with more catalysts. But the real problem with that is not just the cost and the effort, but that you're reverting your original favorite build, and you might not want to delete that. Usually you wouldn't. So they're aware of this, and they're planning on fixing that. But he says this: as a result, the dev team is planning to provide an environment where completely different builds can be created by assigning each loadout with different socket types. Don't know exactly the details of that. And then they talk about here about remixing things as they go from one season to the next. They want to shake up the metas and bring in new metas, and that they also want to drive more focus on weapons. They want this to be a looter shooter, and that's really important. So there's a balancing between skills and weapons that needs to be in a game. Now, some characters are heavily skill based, which is great, but they're looking to bring in also game modes that will require more firearm combat in the end game. So that's really cool to hear. We will continue to explore and release more content as we learn more about this brand new season, the first official season of the First Descendant. Thank you for hanging out with me. My name is Tuxedo Bandido. That's Tito Bandido.
One and only.
And this was another episode of the First Descendant. If you found this video helpful, subscribe, like, and turn on notifications to ensure you don't miss out on the fantastic experiences waiting for you in the First Descendant. And if you like videos like this, check out the one I have recommended for you right here. If you have anything you want to see covered, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And thank you to all the channel members and donors who make everything possible. Tux Nation wouldn't be without you.
When you buy or download anything for the First Descendant, be sure to use Tux's creator code to support the channel. Easy peasy.
Follow me.
I get it.